All right, so we're back with the 33XC from hell. And in another video, I said I was gonna tear it apart. I'm gonna tear it apart. Okay, what a shame. Oh wait, here. I probably showed this stuff before, but this is a bat, right? So to take a bat apart, when you turn it, make sure that you don't turn the cocking piece into the fired position. Turn it the other way. So there's the firing pin, right? By the way, well, we'll discuss that later. All right, so all you need is a 1/2" wrench. This is one of the reasons why this is a left-hand gun, by the way, why I really like Badger rings. So just put it on, loosen it up, no big deal. All right, now I'm just gonna loosen these with my hand. All right, that's it. That's how easy those scopes go on and off. This is the customer scope. I think this is the first 7-35 Night Force that I ever shot, an ATACR F1. It's not bad. I like my Colossus, my Schmidt-Benders better. But by the way, I should probably tell people this. They're having a big Schmidt-Bender sale. They sent us dealer information. I guess they got really good prices on 5 to 25 Schmidt-Benders. So, I mean, call us up if you want some of them. I mean, well, I won't say that on video. Let's just say we make really good deals. What do I gotta do? Oh, I gotta take this apart. All right, so that way you get to see what the bedding looked like also. Might wanna come over here, Vicky. Okay, and then I take the bottom one completely out. Okay. Will you reach down there and get that? So you can just fast forward this if necessary. There's nothing really to learn here. All right, so that's what it looked like on the inside. And so, you know, obviously, since this gun doesn't shoot, let me get a flashlight. I am looking for any movement, which would be a shiny spot. And I don't see anything. I didn't expect to, really. Again, I've done so many of these. I mean, bedding is really one of our strongest features here. I have a proprietary way that I bed that I don't believe that I've ever saw anybody else do. I think I'm maybe the only one that does it. So I don't see anything wrong. The bedding looks really, really good. And you can look into the recoil lug, to the mortise there where the recoil lug goes, and I mean, you can see it's perfectly uniform. So I don't see anything wrong with that. This is a Macmillan, this is an A3. Oh, by the way, there's things we can start telling people. So the decision has already been made. I will never build another 33XC on an A3 ever again. I won't do it. It's gonna be A5 adjustable minimum. We've gotta have, on these big guns, you gotta have more stock. It's just, you just have to have it. You can't shoot them. I can't shoot this thing. I mean, that's part of the reason why it's not all going through one hole, but it really, like that A6-7 bag rider or any of the, what are these, K1000s, Vicky, whatever the true bench rest stocks are, those are way easier to deal with. That's why they're bench rest stocks. Okay, so there's that. Now let's look at this. Same thing. Come on in here so you can see. What we're looking for is any spot where anything was hitting. I mean, any type of strange little mark. And again, it looks perfect. I mean, it looks absolutely flawless. It looks like you could hardly have better bedding. This has a Huber in it, by the way. So I got to take the trigger out before I can pull the barrel off of it. So she'll probably just fast forward all this. You can film it and then just move it ahead. Matter of fact, Vicky, since you can hold this for me, why don't you just shut that camera off for a minute, and we're gonna take this trigger out. All right, so we got the trigger out, and here, I'm gonna show you something. This is a Huber trigger. As much as I like Huber triggers, now there's only two issues with them. A, like I've mentioned before, they're getting way too expensive. We're gonna be going to something else. We always use joules as our bench rest type, lighter, 2 ounce, 3 ounce, 4 ounce trigger. But these have always, for years now, these have been this 2-stage has been our hunting trigger. But he's up to like, I don't know what, is he 450 now, Vicky?
Roughly, yes.
So I like John Huber a lot. I mean, he's a really nice guy, and these are really, come in here so they can see. These are really well-made triggers. You see, these are riveted together. You can't get them back apart. But the one thing I don't like about them is the price. And the second thing I don't like about them is he uses slave pins. These pins right here, this is the way it comes. And the reason why, by the way, I'm saying this is because if you bought a gun off me that had a Huber trigger, somewhere in your package, you saw these 2 little wee pins. Well, those pins, when you put the trigger into the gun, you put the trigger in, you use your actual trigger pin to drive that slave pin out. In other words, you push this one down through, and when this one goes in where it should be, that little slave pin falls out, because if that slave pin isn't there, the guts will, this whole top piece, the sear will pop out of the trigger. So I don't like that, because some triggers that are a sealed trigger, they use a rivet there. It's like a rivet with a hole through the center of it. So pieces can't ever come apart, which is, in my opinion, a better design. At least it is from the user's perspective. From John Huber's perspective, maybe this is better. I don't know. But anyways, if you bought a gun off me and it had a Huber trigger, somewhere in your packet, there's 2 little silver pins. That's what they're for. They're for if you ever have to take your trigger out and or reinstall it. So you've got to use those, use this to drive that out. But then when you're putting it in, when you're installing it. But when you're going the opposite direction, you have to use that to drive this out. So again, it's a slave pin. That's what it is. All right, so anyways, that's a Huber trigger. Really nice. In my opinion, they're now too expensive. Okay? So there's that. So here's where we're at now. We got it all stripped down, and we should take the side bolt release off of it. And same deal. I'm partly doing this because if you have one of these guns with the bat receiver with these on, this can sometimes be difficult to get it to go in. So it's, what is it? It's 1/16. It's a 1/16 inch wrench. And it's just like a set screw with a stud on it. I'm going to show it to you in a second. But until you do it a few times, okay, there it is. Can you see that? Okay, and obviously the catch goes forward because it catches the bolt on the way back to stop the bolt. But when you go to put it back in, watch, I won't be able to get it. It can be quite difficult to get that thing to go back in and then to actually line up and to start to thread. You got to kind of like depress it and wiggle it around. I just happened to get it there. Sometimes, believe it or not, I mean, I've done hundreds and I still stand here and I fight with it for 5 minutes. So it can be a pain in the butt. Anyways, don't lose these. Don't lose these kind of parts. I always put them in a, watch out. I put them in a little bag and keep them in that, I guess those are shoe boxes. I keep them in shoe boxes, all of the different builds and stuff. All right, so there's that. So now all we're down to is a barrel and a receiver. So what I gotta do is I gotta get my clamps and stuff out. Vicky will probably just fast forward. I don't know if you'll see this, but I got all these clamps that I made with different sizes on. I got inch 250, inch 300, inch 325, inch 350, and then I got a blank one in case I have to cut a new one, cut a bigger one. And these are not, you know, fancy things that cost a whole bunch of money. Oh wait, what did you say? Inch 325, right? I got the wrong one. They're just clamps that I made. Okay. Boy, you have no idea how much I hate to do this, because there is so much work here. doesn't have to be, again, I don't know if she's gonna have sound on this. It doesn't have to be that tight. People are gonna ask, well, what do you torque your barrels to and all that crap? Let me tell you something. I've been doing this a long time, and I've got a certain system. I have no idea what they're torqued to, but it's right. That's what I know. And so then, you get a lot of extra clamping pressure by putting this then in the big vise and smashing it. I mean, it's definitely got hold of it. Okay, so you need to get out of my way.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right, now, same deal. You realize BAT makes internal wrenches to reach inside there that has an extension on it, so you can use a torque wrench and all the deal. I don't use it, and my theory on that is I don't want a wrench on the inside of this receiver. I realize these things are very tough. It's very good steel. I mean, it's hard. These are tough receivers, especially these. These are solid bottom single shot with a rail. But I don't want to reach inside and twist it. I want to grab hold of it outside and hold around it. And so that's what we do here. It's actually, this is so strange. This is how rarely I take one off. I almost never take them off. I'm always putting them on. But again, I want to grab it on the outside. I don't want to twist it on the inside. This has got hold of it and it's clamping it down rather than expanding it out. And again, this is just my theory, but I don't use internal wrenches. Okay. There it is. And you know what? I'll take this, before I thread that off of there, I will take this, loosen this clamp up.
You mean hold it?
Yeah, hold that. Yeah, that little bit we just did there, that last 2 minutes just cost me 2 days worth of work. Let me have it. Just look, it marred it. And actually, it's not that bad. I mean, Duracoat's pretty tough stuff. Yeah. Again, I've got my opinions on this. See, I have not applied them both. I've only ever applied Duracoat. But I have bead blasted both of them off, Duracoat and Cerakote. I think Duracoat's just as good, and you don't have to use heat to cure it. I will say, after this has been on here like a month or two or however long this has been on, it gets really hard. And so you saw what I just did, and really come and look at that so they can make their own decision.
It doesn't look bad.
Nope, it barely, you can tell that I just did that.
It doesn't look bad at
all right, so not that bad. It's pretty tough stuff. Okay, I'll get this off of here. So now here's the problem though. Look what it did on the bottom. I mean, actually it's
yeah.
Again, it's not that bad, but I mean, you can't give a customer something that looks like that. Look, it put a chip on it right there. Anyways, it's got to be redone. That's all there is to it. Okay, so now here's the big moment of truth. Come over here on this side. So let's take this off of here. Uh-oh. You got to be careful. I mean, this stuff is... Okay, so you can look at that right away. So that's... Look how uniform the mark is. Very, very uniform. In fact, I mean, it's perfect. Okay, it's perfect. So there's nothing there. And now, you guys can't see this, but it's important to me to look down inside here. Maybe I'll get a light. I want to see how the lugs were riding, were riding on the, can you see in there? Probably not. I mean, it's very, very good. I don't know if I'd call it perfect. That one might be like 1/10,000th of an inch more contact than the other. And again, remember, I don't blueprint bats, but that doesn't mean I couldn't lap those lugs into that. The only thing is I don't want to do that now. I got to think about that because see, the other barrel was head spaced. The barrel that the customer is sending back to me was done at the exact same time, and head space was less than half a thou. I couldn't measure it. So I don't know if I would want to do that because it would increase head space if you lap the lugs. And again, it might not be very much. But anyways, perfectly uniform contact. I don't see how it couldn't be any better than that. All right, and so, here, lay that down. Here, look at this too. So of course you can come and look on the barrel side of it also. And I don't know if you see this, look right here. Right here, that's a lug, and right there, that's a lug. Because I only have, I think between the bolt nose and the face of, and the base of the tenon, the back of the tenon, I only have about, I forget, maybe 2 or 3 thou. And you can see that it's smearing the grease uniformly. You see that, Vicki?
Yes.
I mean, it's very uniform. And so then, all you can do, and of course we're going to do it here in a minute, but here, wait. Well, again, I'm trying to show you guys stuff that you just simply can't see on these crappy cameras. I mean, we need an honest-to-gosh real camera with lenses. Are you looking?
Yeah, but
where we can focus this. So now, there it is. And again, that barrel is going back to Brooks. But I have a Borescope, but I don't have the laptop up here. I got to bring the laptop so that we can film what we see inside there, which is going to be very interesting. I'm interested to see it myself. But the one good thing about this is, you know, this thing's got 90 rounds through it, and every single thing I look at, all of the mating surfaces, everything looks at least 99%, if not 100%. So I don't, and look, you can look on the back too. You realize this is hitting into the bedding. Look at that. Again, you guys can't see it. I know you can't see it. That is as perfect. That is 100%. Perfectly uniform contact. Because you realize if the back of the recoil lug, if this thing's moving around and it's beaten like this, you're going to get pliers. That's why bedding is so important. In fact, I almost say bedding is more important than metal work. Almost. Because you could get away with 2, 3, 4 10,000ths in metal work and still have a really good shooting gun. But if your bedding isn't perfect, the gun's not going to shoot because things are going to move. Okay? And if things are moving, it's not going to shoot. So, all right, so what we're going to do is we're going to quit. She'll stop this video. We'll get the Borescope. We'll get the laptop. And then we'll come back and Borescope the barrel. All right, see ya. All right, so we went home. We got the laptop and a real camera. In other words, not a video camera, an actual still camera. And when we saw the video for when we tried to show the damage on the brass, you can't see it in the video. So we got the still camera, we got a tripod, we took the advice of one of our viewers, a comment, and we took much better photos of that brass, and Vicky's going to insert it here. Okay, now we're back again. So, like I said, we went and got the laptop. We've cleaned this barrel, cleaned this barrel, cleaned this barrel. Now you gotta understand, we cleaned it like crazy when we finished shooting it. But what's really interesting is, and it's unusual that I've never done it, for reasons, I just wanted to get everything out of it. So I was sitting here putting this break-free mil-spec CLP through it. Oh my gosh, you ought to see how much more came out of it. A lot more. Now, not copper, just debris, carbon, stuff like that. So this stuff really works. I mean, this really works. Because you know, when we're out in the field, we always use CR10 for expediency because it goes fast, Barnes CR10. And then we always begin and finish with cano coil because it protects and it gets that CRC, it gets the CRT
CO10.
CR10. Gosh dang it, I can't think anymore. That's from getting hit in the head too many freaking times. Just to begin and finish, to get that Barnes CR10 out of the barrel. Now, we've been standing here fooling around with this borescope. This is not a fair contest because this gun has 90 rounds through it, and I did not borescope it to begin with. And if anybody's like, well, why don't you borescope them to begin with? Listen, it's no joke. We actually make minimum wage. So I dry it, I wet patch them when they come from the manufacturer. I push patches through them. I just flood it with WD-40. I push tight patches through it. Some guys have said, well, no, you should slug them. Yeah, maybe you should slug them. We can get down to $1 an hour if we're really lucky. But I push tight patches through them to feel them. This barrel felt fine. I can remember that. Then we send it off to cryo. When it comes back from cryo, I flood it with WD-40 again, and I push tight patches through it to feel it. See if I can feel anything, any anomalies. I did not. It seemed fine. Now, we've been sitting here in Weston with this borescope, and I see things that I don't know what it is and that I can't explain. The other thing I'm going to show you here in about a second is I'm pretty much amazed how much damage this barrel has received in just 90 rounds. When you're torching off 120 grains of powder, it's doing damage, more than I thought. So I have to walk over and we're going to turn out the lights so you can see this. Now this is just one of these Tesla borescopes. This isn't a $5,000 Hawkeye, and it's just a cheap laptop. So we're going to do the best we can, but there's things in here that you need to see. All right, so I have the borescope at a certain spot that we already found. And what I want you to see is, I want you to see that. What are those crosshash marks in that groove? Actually, that's a land. Look at those marks. Although I need to be, Vicki, I need to be able to see both that and the camera. Reach up and touch the laptop. No, touch the touch screen. Okay?
Oops. Okay.
All right, now we're back. All right, see these marks? What are those? I've never saw that before. And it's the whole way down this one. Look at that. Can you see that? There's marks starting high on the right, starting high at 1 o'clock and going low to about 7 o'clock. Look at them. I don't know what that is. And it's just right there. Now, we also saw, and I don't know where we can find it, it actually looked like there was a piece of steel right there. It looks like there's a chunk. I don't know if you can see this. I'm moving it around. It looks like there's a chunk of metal tore out right there.
Try to put it where the light's not right on it. It's easier to see.
Well, I am. Okay, yeah. This is very difficult.
Right there.
All right, right there. Right at the top of the screen. It looks like there's a piece of steel ripped right out of the barrel. Now I'm going to back up. Where this is in here, I don't know, about a ½ an inch. So here is the throat. And this is actually the lead, the transition. Okay, this is the smooth section. This is the case mouth. Right here. And look at that. I am amazed at how rough and fire cracked that looks. I mean, look at that. Here, I got to try to get it focused. I wouldn't expect that much damage. That's the neck right here. That's the actual, and you can see the transition. Well, maybe you can see. This is really hard. There's the transition from where the shoulder goes into the neck. That's the neck right there. That's the leading edge of the neck, where the neck comes up to the barrel. And there's a little wee gap right there. And then, like I said, look at all that. I mean, it just looks rough. Now, not super horrible, but again, this is only 90 rounds. If that was 300 rounds, I'd be like, yeah, that seems to make sense. But what on earth, what are those? What is that? I mean, look at that. And that thing there, I mean, what is that? It looks like a hunk of the steel just ripped out. And I mean, there's a lot of them. Look at that. Now, as you go further down, and I haven't looked at every single inch of this barrel. This is very hard to do with this cheap Borescope. Okay, I haven't gone through every inch of the barrel, but I've looked at most of it. And I can't find, God, this thing just fights you. There's a good photo. I mean, like down there, this looks nice. That looks nice, although I don't know, it's a little bit scaly even right there. I'm going to rotate the barrel, not the Borescope. There, that's helping. Wait a minute, I don't know right there too. See them streaks? See that black streak? Mm-hmm. And that's not copper. Whatever that is right there is not copper. We got the copper out of it. That's a fact. Again, here we are, back to these weird, whatever the heck those are. Here, let me see if I can get it focused. I mean, they're kind of looking at it at an angle now. See them? I don't know what that is. Something, whether it was there before we started, or whether that's something from shooting it. I mean, I don't know. The point is, except for what I just showed you, here, I'm rotating the barrel again. Here, I'm going to go down it now. I don't know. It's hard to make a determination of what you're actually seeing. I've noticed this. See those I don't know what you'd call them. Crosshatch machine marks. Do you see that? Right there, see the ones going right there. Do you see those?
I do.
There's a whole bunch of them that are all going 90 degrees to the bore. I noticed that I see them in multiple spots in here. Now, that just looks like machine marks. It's definitely not, it's not lapping marks.
Do the grooves look even?
Well, it's very hard to tell with this. I don't know. I'm going to come back up to the throat. So here it is. Here's the transition. That is where it goes from just being a cylinder and tapers down and goes right into the lands and grooves. So you're looking at lands, grooves, lands, grooves. God, I can't focus. Whoa. Whoa, what just happened? This is just horrible. Why is it so? I wonder if I got oil on the end of the lens. Anyways, I went the whole way around there too, to make sure. Yeah, I think the lens came loose on the end. I wanted to make sure that everything was concentric and square. And I went the whole way around there off camera, and it's perfectly uniform. I'm gonna stop, we gotta stop, I gotta turn the light back on. Go ahead and stop that for a second. I gotta clean the lens on this.
Okay, it's running.
All right, we running again?
Yes.
All right, so the end of this, the lens on the end of this, wow, so Vicki was recording with the...
Only for a second.
With the camera lens covered. All right, so listen, the lens on the end of this borescope comes loose sometimes, and you gotta keep it clean. So anyways, we can see better now. So again, that's the end of the cartridge case, neck. And I spun the barrel. In other words, I held this straight and I spun the barrel to see if that's uniform the whole way around. And it is, absolutely. And so now here, you go from the case mouth to where it enters into the grooves and the lands. And what I also did is, and I don't know if I can do it again. Watch. Can you see that it's spinning? So I went the whole way around, turned the barrel 360 degrees, and the transition is perfectly uniform, which is exactly what I expected. Okay? Now again, once again, we're there. Anyways, you know, this is a $200 borescope. Like I said, you can't expect that it's going to do the same job as a $5,000 USA made one. But anyways, I did this. I'm more than 3/4 of the way right now, just showing this, and it's perfectly uniform. This thing's grabbing hold of this. Okay, there we go. And look at that crack right there, by the way. See that crack? Right at the leading edge of the neck, right where there's another piece too, another chunk out of the barrel. See that right there? Look, I'll try to put it right in the middle of the screen. Ready? I'm moving it around. See that? That's only in 90 rounds. That's one thing nobody told me. When all those guys were calling me and telling me all about their experiences with 33XC, nobody told me how many accurate rounds they're getting. Because normally, and I tell people this all the time, 338s generally have a long barrel life, but that's not ones that are shooting 120 grains of powder. Anyways, you're just gonna have to take my word for it because it's too hard to do this. I went through this, pretty much through this whole barrel, and I don't see anything in the barrel that would cause it not to shoot. Okay, and again, I don't want to give away what's coming in the next videos, but
You can't see you.
when we took it out and shot Sierra Match Kings, it was actually not that bad. Vicki wants me to turn on the light. So once again, what I think it's a combination of factors. I don't think this is a Hummer barrel. No way on earth, okay? It fights me too hard. But then what I think it's definitely in that brass, at least a percentage of it. And like I said, it will not shoot elite hunters. When we took it out to shoot Sierra Match Kings, again, just watch. It's coming. She's going to be working on it today. A lot of guys would actually say that's good, but it's not good enough for what we do, and it's not good enough for what the customer wanted. Anyways, we told you we would show you what it looked like with the borescope. We did. All right, so we actually ended this video, and then we were standing out here fooling around with the borescope, and Vicky's like, look at that, look at that, look at that. And I think maybe she has something. You recall that we told you way out when we were shooting it the very first time that the patches did not, the pattern on the patches did not look uniform. And so we already did this and quit. Now we're going to show you, hopefully, what we can see. Please turn that light off, Hilo. All right, now I want you to look at this. I took the end off of the borescope. And Vicky's standing here looking at this, and I see what she's seeing. Count, I don't know how to say this. Count the black streaks and the silver streaks on each side. It doesn't appear even. Again, I don't know how to describe what I'm trying to tell you. Vicky, try to tell them what you see.
Well, it looks like there are more black. The black spaces are more condensed, like right now on the left, than they are on the right.
Yeah, like, okay, this is not accurate, but almost like a gain twist barrel or something.
And that's how the patches looked.
Yeah, that's exactly how the patches look. That's what she said. Because I was just standing here fiddling around with this, and why is this so dang tight in here? It just doesn't look right. I don't know how else to say it. It's not that it doesn't look right. It doesn't look uniform is what it is. It's almost like the spacing between the lands and the grooves is different on one side than the other side. I don't know. All right, I do know one thing. I'm going to back out of here. There's something else I want to show you. So watch. With the end of this off, you can see there's the transition. This is really hard to do. There is the actual transition into the rifling. And if you look at that, it is very uniform. And you can very much see that you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 grooves, and obviously 6 lands. I mean, you can see it. I don't know. I'm going to be very interested. This I'm pulling back now into the chamber. Whoa, whoa. I'm not so... Now this is in the chamber, and the marks you're seeing there is from sandpaper. When I finish any chamber, and I know I do this different than other people, but I usually use 1,000 and 2,000. I just go in there and smooth that up a little bit, because you always have radial marks. There's no reamer that cuts absolutely perfect. So here we are, we're going back in. Now you're going, this is the angle, the bevel on the case, the shoulder, and now we just passed that, and now we're up in the throat, and now we're transitioning into the rifling, just like the bullet does. But again, even look right there. It's like they don't look even. Watch the camera, Vicky. Don't hit into the stick. All right, Hilo, please turn on the light for us. You can see, I don't know if you saw that, there's ramps, like where you actually, look at me, Vicky, like you've got the lands the whole way around, right? And they're the high spots. And the reamer knocks those like a bevel. It puts a bevel, an angle onto those lands so that the bullet transitions like this. And if you notice, they were perfectly even. Well, that's one of the reasons why I do soft seat jam too. You know, you can use magic marker on a bullet, or you can soot it, or you can do whatever. Put it in, take it out, look at the marks. And if the marks are perfectly even the whole way around, and they're the same exact width, in other words, they're the same length, they're the same width, and they're perfectly uniform the whole way around, that's one of the ways you tell if you have a concentric chamber. I'm not explaining that very well, but anyways, that part of it looks really good. What looks weird is up inside there, it's like, Vicky, it's almost like something, I don't know. We're going to send it back, and then we'll find out. All right, now this really is the end. We have to quit. All right, thank you.